T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I got two predictions. We're going to have a lot of fun today. And I forgot the second. Already. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. It's a very special day because it's Wednesday. And you P1 viewers know what that means. It means you got just me in hour one. That's right. You've got the Larry King of Sports. Hello. Carlos in Indianapolis. Hello. It's going to be fun. Oh, I know the second prediction. This first segment goes by really fast. So buckle up and let's get ready to rumble. Our guest coming up today in hour two. We only have one guest today, and it is Sean Hogan. He is the executive director of College Hockey Inc. He's a great guy. He's been on this program many times. He was supposed to come on last week. That didn't work out in advance of the Frozen Four. But I said, I'm not letting you off the hook, Sean. He wants to come on and talk hockey. And this sold-out T-Mobile Arena in Vegas to watch Denver win the College Hockey Championship. But, of course, we're into the junior playoffs. The Stanley Cup Playoffs are nigh. So, yeah, he can talk about it all, Sean Hogan. Along the way, the text line's open, 902-518-3033. I want to hear from everybody. I can guarantee you this because it's noon Eastern out here for those that are watching the live audience. I've seen enough this morning to tell you the world is a scary place. So come on inside here where it's fun and it's safe, and let's talk sports. And I want to hear from you. You know, I joke about it every Wednesday, but I'm serious. This is the day where you can be the co-host. Give me the topics, give what you want to talk about, and I'll give you my opinions on them. We can have a little discussion back and forth here. And a little, because it is the Canadian Hour, lucky you here on Game Plus Television, and the Canadian sports fans that are watching in the U.S., which the numbers keep rising there, and I don't understand it. Don't ask me why. We got CFL news. We've got NBA news. We've got MLB stuff to talk about. We got a lot to get to. But for me, the big story, again, we do it every single day. The first point of the warm-up, the biggest story for me is the NHL. Gabriel Landeskog's goal to 15:07 of the third period snapped a 1-1 tie, and the visiting Colorado Avalanche edged the Calgary Flames 3-1 last night. I went 5 of 9 in my NHL picks for Pump Jacks and my betting friends, which you've met one of them, TK. TK wins. He was on here in advance of March Madness. He's the guy that said 56% pays, so we're in the money. And if you're keeping track, you'll know that overall, we're in the money here for Pump Jacks Cathedral and Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late, at a place where friends meet. Nick Schmaltz scored twice. Logan Cooley had a goal and an assist. And the playoff-bound Utah Mammoth defeated the visiting Winnipeg Jets 5-3. Jake DeBrusk, second goal of the game, lifted the last-place Vancouver Canucks to a 4-3 win over the visiting LA Kings. Those are just 3 of the 9 games in the NHL Tuesday night. But I'm going to tell you this. Absolutely everybody is talking about what went on after the Columbus game. Rick Bowness, the Washington Capitals defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 2-1 Tuesday night. Ovi had an assist on the go-ahead goal. And don't even get me started about fake news and the problems that I have with the current media. Trust me, we're going to also get into that here in hour one. But no. The Bowness thing. You saw that he ripped this team after, and absolutely anybody that knows Rick Bowness loves him. He's coached a lot of teams, and he's been around the NHL for a very, very long time. And I guess that's a good place to start here because everybody's talking about it. In my world, anyways, for those that aren't talking about the NFL draft, how about that? Because that's what everybody's talking about that I've seen in America, in the NBA playoffs, and we'll brush on it, but we're not going to go deep on it. So we're the only place talking hockey in my circles, and I'm a lot annoyed, and I'm going to draw some parallels here, and I got a full page of notes of things to get to that are hockey related, but specifically with Rick Bowness. Again, his team missed the playoffs. I think they went 2-8 down the stretch, and you all saw it. Rick Bowness after the game ripping his team, losing his cool, and saying, if I'm back, I'm changing the culture here because these guys don't hate losing. And he kept his composure for as well as he can. And what annoys me is, listen, I'm the guy that says everybody's opinion matters and there's got to be room for everybody's opinion. And there's no doubt about that. But I just see Ken Campbell from the Hockey News. Come on, man. He's one of the reasons why I stay off Twitter. the reason he's like, I don't want to hear anybody talk about the pressure in Leafville after what Rick Bowness said, because I've never seen a Toronto coach say the things that he just said. Why do you got to relate everything to the Leafs? Oh, and trust me, they're on the docket to be talked about here today, by the way. But who cares about the Leafs? The Leafs are a joke. We're not talking about the Leafs. We're talking about Rick Bowness and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And it used to be, because I started out in hockey and I used all the hockey parallels when I got into football. Then I spent 20 years in pro football, and then I use all those parallels now to hockey. But the point is, the concepts are all the same in sports. They really are. And when I got with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 1999 as their play-by-play voice, I mean, I was in with the team, traveled on the team bus, was in all the meetings, stayed in the hotel. They were all my friends. But I was looking around them. This is my first year when we went 3-15, and I looked around the bus. I'd been in the Dub for however long it was before that, 5-6 years before that, which is high-level sports. And I'm like, let's just say there were a lot of guys on that bus after losses that didn't care that we lost. I don't want to name names. You Rider fans that are watching, because Saskatchewan's still our number one region for viewership, you could think of some of them. Let's think of guys that had been with that team all through the 90s, which perennially was losing. Somehow or another, we fluked out and got to the Grey Cup in 1997. That doesn't count. I'm just saying there are guys, I get exactly what Bowness is saying. And that's why I got upset at some pundit on ESPN radio I heard on the weekend saying, oh, how do you fix a bad team? You draft good players. No, that doesn't work. Because those guys that were sitting on that bus with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, that I looked at all of their eyes and I looked in all of their soul, they're Hall of Famers in a lot of cases, but they'd been there so long and they were so used to losing, because it's a human condition, it's easier to just check out. Sure, they're Hall of Famers for a reason, and they hated losing at one point, but there gets to be a point that you lose so much, you just don't care anymore. And that's what Rick Bowness is talking about. And that's what, I hate to single out Ken Campbell from the Hockey News, but it's just, I'm getting up to here with hearing from people that have Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts and are on national television or with big brands that have never been on that bus or never been in that room or never talked to that player. Totally understand what Rick Bowness is saying. And I hope he is back. And he probably will be back, I would think, after that rant. And I'm sure a lot of those players will not be, which we will talk a little bit about culture when we come back, because I still don't, after all these years, I still don't know who sets the culture. I got an idea. But I'd like to hear your take as well. 902-518-3033. We're just scratching the surface, popping the top. We'll be right back in the warm-up here on Game Plus Television.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time?
Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and
and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
And we are off and running with a great one. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. My phone's blowing up, both my personal phone and the Western Dodge text line, which, by the way, drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge today. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. 902-518-3033. I got to say hey to the P1s that are watching out there. Bob in Medicine Hat. Good morning, Rod. Watching your great show. Have a great day, my friend. We're having a great day, Bob, and a big part of it's because of you. Thanks for tuning in. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, happy hump day, Rod and squad. Well, it's just me in hour one. That's what we do here on these Wednesdays. A hockey guy texted me, I'm not going to out you. I'm not even going to give your initials. But he says, the Leafs are the center of the universe. It's exhausting. I love Bones' fire. He hit the nail on the head. Yes, he did. That's the whole thing. If anybody in this room does not hate losing, get the hell out. Nobody's going to put their hand up. You can just tell. That's the whole point. Now, I love the part of the audience participation, right? I said before the break, who's responsible for the culture? I got a pretty good idea. I'm 53. I've worked in a lot of radio stations, newspapers, television stations, football teams, hockey teams, baseball teams. Like, I've been around. I don't totally know. Darren's watching in Utah. He writes in, he says, culture is set by the head coach and is cemented by the star or leaders amongst the players. See, no, I want to, yeah. But are the Winnipeg Jets the exception that proves the rule? Because I look there and go, look at Paul Maurice. It wasn't working. He left. Rick Bowness. I guess it really wasn't working. He left. So does it go higher? I'm just putting that out there. I don't really know. To be honest, I think it's probably the owner. I don't want to spend an hour on this, but trust me, I could. Because it's like my favorite thing. But the two teams that I'm around the most and know the most of, the Florida Panthers, their owner, Vincent Viola, West Point military guy, Bill Foley, Golden Knights of Vegas, West Point military guy. I've ran around them both. And I know all their staff. And what those staff tell me is, you get caught pulling shady stuff around here, you're out. That's a military thing. And it permeates the hockey team, and it works in those places, but not every team is the same. Paul in Humboldt, hello. He writes in and says, I have to make this U.S.-Canada bilingual. RP shakes the soda pop can and then pops the top. Right? Soda, pop. You're right. Way more differences than just that, but that's a very good start. Paul in Humboldt. Hello. 902-518-3033. Hey, David, thank you. Number 2 in Winnipeg. Thank you for coming to my defense, David in Winnipeg. He says, you and Bones are bang on. Too many athletes look at the size of their paychecks instead of wins and losses. I am sure that a lot of the Jets players are looking in the mirror and checking their give-a-damn accounts. So many things. Because with the Leafs, I don't care who it pisses off. The Leafs are a joke. And I see this article this morning from The Athletic, which I subscribe to. I'm a fan of it. And they've done a deep dive on Keith Pelley, and he was in the office on trade deadline day. He wanted to know what was going on, and he had a list of trades that the Leafs could have made, and he brought it up with AI. It made Keith Pelley look really bad, this article. And I don't mind wading in on this because, as I've said, for the new viewers that don't know, a lot of you do know. I know Keith from the CFL days when he was the president of the Argos. I knew him from the Sportsnet days when I worked at Sportsnet. I know Keith really well. He's a sharp guy. Keith Pelley is not going to spit in possible trades for the Leafs into ChatGPT, print them out, and take them into Brad Trill. He's not going to do that. And the Athletic article made it look like he would. So I feel bad for Keith. I don't know if he can turn it around. A lot of really smart guys have not been able to. I want to say starting with Richard Petty, but it went on long before him, and it's extended long after. But this article made Keith Pelley look really, really bad, and I think he deserves better than that. And frankly, I feel bad for the guy. And it's funny, I feel like anybody that knows Keith Pelley or has worked for or around him thinks the world of him. And Kevin Carius was just on this show yesterday, said he was around Pelley from the old curling days and has immense respect for him. So, I don't know, it kind of looked like a hit piece from The Athletic today. But I want to get back on the positive train here. Monty in the Bridge City writes in, he says, good morning, Rod. He says, I hate losing. I know, Monty, because you're a winner. To quote John Frenzy, you're a winner all the way. And that's in for you too, Joe Lazito, who I know you're watching in Long Island right now, the John Frenzy-isms that we never get tired of. Anyways, you see on the screen Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. I can't really take the credit because it was you people, the Rod Squad. You sold out his trip to Toronto twice. Twice you sold it out, RP Show viewers. Neil Chark loves this show and loves you. Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. He's my kind of guy because I said we'll have this thing sold out by the end of April. You people sold it out in a week. That's the 2 Jays games, the Riders, Tabbies, and Hamilton. But then now Neil's like, okay, where are we going next? That's what I'm like. And I'm at this stage of my life, just so you know, before I get back on the sports topics here, this roller hockey international thing is a very good example of the new level of life that I'm in. It's not higher, it's not lower, it's just different. And I'm working with these really big money people. And it's odd because they're all here in South Florida. And they're like, Rod, what do you think about this? And then I give my opinion and they go do it. I'm like, what? But I'm not in control. I don't want to be in control. It's their league. It's their money. They just ask for my opinions on things and then they go and do things. And then they all work out. I'm like, whoa, wow. But I'm not running it. I don't want to. It's pretty awesome, actually. And I love those people. Anyways, point 2 is simply this. Stanley Cup Playoffs. As of Tuesday night, all 4 Eastern Conference series have been determined. So that's the poll question for Country Thunder, Saskatchewan. The biggest party of the summer is coming to Craven July 9th to the 12th, as is the RP Show, featuring Lainey Wilson and Creed. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. For just $20, you can secure your weekend passes. Jason and Red Deer said, how come the poll's only the Eastern Conference series? The poll question is, which will be the best series out of them all? And I said, because the Western series have not been determined yet. Now, I'm going to go ahead right now and tell you that Montreal-Tampa Bay is my vote for what will be the best series. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. They're already talking about that. And already in my mind, I'm formulating what day I want to get Knuckles Nyland on. The Montreal Canadiens great, and my great friend. But the other series are great too. And based on the vote, here's who's got the least amount of votes. Buffalo-Boston. Why is that? That's an old classic Adams division rivalry right there. Philadelphia-Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Carolina, and then Montreal-Tampa Bay. And I'm a little bummed because game one of the Tampa-Montreal series is Saturday at what they're now calling Benchmark International Arena in Tampa Bay. And I planned to go, but I've got football duties here in South Florida on Saturday. So I won't be there for game one. We'll see for game two. I don't know. As you know, one day at a time here. But I'm not turning down a paying gig. That's business. Anyways, I think it'll be the best series. It's really the only one that I'm paying attention to a ton. Tampa Bay's favored to win this series for reasons do we want to do this today? Because we can. I was kind of thinking more of pushing it to tomorrow when Kevin the Medium joins us, but they got the goaltending. Well, you can talk about coaching. John Cooper's going to win any series matchup he's in, largely against the Tampa Bay great of Martin St. Louis on the Canadiens bench. They got the goaltending. I'm going to say they have the coaching, although it's tough because I love Martin St. Louis. Who's got the better forwards? I got to say Tampa. They've got experience. I sit there and think about it. I'm like, this might not even be a long series. And I saw people saying it's going to go 7. Maybe it will. But I don't know. A lot of you people in Canada weren't really watching when Tampa Bay kind of bottomed out the last couple of years. When I say bottomed out, I mean losing to Florida in round 1 of the playoffs the last couple of years in 5-game series, not even really putting up a fight. All of a sudden, the Panthers are out of the playoffs, and the Lightning are coming back, kicking the crap out of everybody, including Montreal in regular season games. Well, not on the scoreboard necessarily, but they're trying to physically run them out of the rink. They're going to try and do that in these Stanley Cup playoffs. So, to me, I can sit and talk about that series forever. And it's also funny because with our Cats and Bolts podcast, which we're going to be doing a live stream this afternoon, 3:30 Eastern, if you can join us, playoff preview. I put a poll out to our viewers in South Florida. I said, will you, Panthers fans, be cheering for Tampa Bay in the playoffs? 68% said no. Now, that would seem elementary to any Canadian viewers that are watching, but here in South Florida, if you can believe, the two fan bases up until a few years ago actually got along. Now they freaking hate each other. And the teams do too. It's really awesome and good for business. But that's the answer to that. Back to the culture thing, because again, we could sit on this for a long time. Tony's watching in Cochrane. He writes in, he says, culture? A general manager, high-level executive responsible for overseeing daily operations, driving profitability, and directing company strategy, typically reporting to the CEO or board. No. I don't need you to go to AI because we're talking about sports teams. Please don't do that. Because they are different. Oh, and by the way, when I said I don't think Keith Pelley's the guy running around typing into chat GPT what are potential trades for the Leafs and then giving them to the GM, but because I know Keith, I don't think he would do that. But I do know there are places that do that. Oh, believe me, because I'm talking to people all the time. You see where my mind just went to that whole, how much can I say? Let me just say I was talking to a guy, very close friend of mine, working at a radio station. I said, who's running that place now? My friend goes, blankety blank. I said, oh, the guy that's never worked a single day in the broadcasting business, he's running the radio station? Yeah. I'm good. I'm good over here doing my own thing. I was listening to Florio this morning on Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports Radio. He said the exact same thing. He goes, his term was he tapped out. He tapped out when he was told by his bosses in the mainstream to go on the air and lie. And I'm like, oh, coincidentally, so did I. Tapped out right around the same time. Ryan in upstate New York writes in and says, good day, Rod Squad. Hope everyone's week is going well. Same to you, Ryan. You showed up just in time because we got CFL, NFL coming up after the break. Some baseball, too. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, that late season swoon by the Blue Jackets will cost Zach Werenski the Norris Trophy. Maybe, but because he's buried in that market, which nobody ever sees their games, and it is a regular season award, right? It might not cost him the Norris because it does not account for the playoffs. The voting is going to be already done. 902-518-3033. We're brought to you in part in our, well, this, because we're going to wrap up hockey, move to football next. The Hockey Report is for the Mad Greek. For Stanley Cup playoff watching, get your pizza at the Mad Greek or Legendary Ribs, Late Night Bites, Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. And also Tony Plater's Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life, specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. We'll be back with more of this coming up after the break. 902-518-3033 is the text line, and you're watching on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edge-of-your-seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
I really like Wednesdays. It's just you and me. I love Scruffy and I love Kevin the Medium, but we get all our sponsor reads in. We get all your messages read. It's a special time. Wednesdays, hour one. That's what we have right now. And by the way, before we go head first back into the sports topics, I just got a note here. Producer Corey probably saw it too. We won't be on television on Thursday on Game Plus, but we will be here streaming and on WQVZ and on Silver State Sports in Nevada. But on Game Plus is doing tech testing, apparently. I just with last week, with the tech issues here, this is a funny thing. Well, it's not funny, but last night, overtime, Miami Heat, Charlotte Hornets, NBA play-in game, boop, Prime drops the feed in overtime. Tech issues. Last Thursday, Winnipeg Jets game at St. Louis, didn't even get on television at all. And the only reason I knew is the television voice of the Jets, Dan Robertson, good friend of mine, puts on Twitter, we're not going to get this resolved. Watch the Blues feed. It's just the way that it is. It's the way it is now. Drives people crazy, right, Producer Corey? Drives people nuts. Yeah. Last Friday night, because the old me would be blowing a pipe, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing we can do. I went to the mall. I went to the Boca Town Center and did a sport that my mom made famous, people watching. Then I went for a drive around South Florida. And it worked. And we're back. We're here. Everything's good. You should try it. 902-518-3033. Paul in Humboldt. Hello. He says, for those of you who think coaches and GMs set the culture, Berube and Tree Living called out the Leafs after the Matthews injury and got a tepid response. Players have to care. Here's the thing on that. I think it's different with every organization, from organization to organization to organization. And by the way, there's different structures. We're talking about, I said, the Panthers are owned by one guy. The Golden Knights are owned by one guy. The Leafs are owned by 80. That's a problem right there. So anyways, let me move on to a few other things because I'm tired of them. Our picks, which I went 5 of 9 last night in the NHL, brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. The Great Gazoo. Point 3, right-hander Dylan Cease will be on the mound for the Blue Jays tonight when they face the host Milwaukee Brewers in the second game of their 3-game series. The Jays scored 3 runs in the 10th inning last night to beat the Brewers 9-7. Righty Chad Patrick will start for the Brewers, who are aiming to halt a 6-game slide. Every day I open up the standings, and there's somebody else in first in the American League East. And the Jays are only 2 wins out, 2 games back. So, chill. Let's talk Stanley Cup playoffs. Or, point 4, the Hornets beat the Heat 127-126 in overtime in one of the wildest games of the NBA season. Not a bad way to kick off the play-in. LaMelo Ball was ice cold from deep, 2 for 16, but scored the game-winning bucket in the final seconds. And Denny Avdija scored 41 points, and the Portland Trailblazers erased an 11-point deficit in the fourth quarter to beat the Phoenix Suns 114-110 and advance to the playoffs. Secondary poll question, because the primary poll question for Country Thunder is what's the best Eastern Conference first-round series going to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Montreal, Tampa Bay is leading. That should come as a surprise to nobody. Secondary poll question, are you into the NBA playoffs? I'm going to vote yes. I mean, I'm reading it, I'm following it, but my local team here, the Heat are out, but the Raptors are playing Cleveland. I know that. Game 1 Saturday. Point 5, because it is the Canadian hour. How about this? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers released their 2025 annual report today, announcing an operating profit of $12.1 million and $8.4 million of that going back into the football stadium. Total operating revenue in 2025 reached $82.8 million for the Blue Bombers. That's an increase of $28.1 million over the prior year, and they're crediting, driven by the club's hosting of the 112th Grey Cup and 2025 Grey Cup Festival. Those strong results allowed the Bombers to move forward with significant upgrades. Last season, $8.4 million was invested into stadium projects, included a new players' lounge, HVAC remediation, additional contactless security screening devices, and concessions equipment to improve capacity and speed of service. Looking ahead, the Bombers have just completed installation of 2 new high-resolution video boards at Princess Auto Stadium. So, where are the CFL fans at? I did see the tweet from David William Naylor this morning that the $12.1 million is a CFL record for revenue in a year. So the Bombers got it going on, just like Stacy's mom. And good for them. Where's my mind going? Because you saw my mind just went somewhere. Whereas I enjoy the off-field games in sports, not just the CFL, as much as I do the on-field games. And trust me, it's a race amongst the business offices to one-up each other on the revenue every year, which it should be. You know, businesses are outside of sports, and sports teams are the same. So I'll say it again. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers making $12.1 million profit net in 2025, and 3/4 of that is going back into the stadium. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not the rider guy, but it's my team, is where I'm from, and I don't know what their financials are, but what I can say is when we were on top of the league, a lot of the money was going back into the stadium too. The video board, all the same stuff. And they're doing it in Winnipeg, and it makes me very happy to see that because they're good, very, very good people there. With the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who the heck? Somebody wrote in here yesterday, I think it was David from Winnipeg, David number 2, saying that his sports watching's over until CFL season. And I get that too, but we got a show to do every day. And there's a lot of other things going on, which reminds me. That very same David number 2 has written in and says, Rod has dropped the gloves and is pulling no punches. How about that? I don't know exactly to what you're referring, other than, as I said earlier, I just can't not say what's on my mind because, people are starting to see how things have changed in sports. And what did Don Cherry say when he got fired at Sportsnet? And they said that, well, if you want to come back and make an apology, you can have your spot back. Don was like, no, thanks. And then he went on to say, if they want a robot, I can't do that. And some people are more than okay. Not everybody on the air is a robot, but a lot of them are. So with this show, the other show, where's Jeff, the Stamps fan, by the way? I'm sure you're here. We just talked CFL for you. Where the hell are you? Wants to talk CFL every day. I can go along to get along. I told you all yesterday. The reason he popped into my mind was I said, I'm sitting on a scoop, but I'm not going to announce it for fear of being canceled. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, said yesterday, wrote in, he's like, say it. This is not the schoolyard, and we're not in grade 6 here. You're not going to dare me into dropping a scoop that might having my press credentials pulled by the National Hockey League. It's not worth it. Just because you're curious, and just so you know, it has to do with the NHL in Florida. It has nothing to do with Canadian sports, but that's the way that it is now because they're in control, and that's what people don't really understand. It's funny because I want to get Steve Simmons on the air. I really do. Maybe next week. I see him all the time because he lives here in South Florida. He's like the last of the Mohicans, the last of the rumpled scribes. And he'd like me. He don't give a shit. He'll say it the way it is. So I want to get his take on the Leafs. So stay tuned for that. I have not reached out to him yet. He's got his DMs turned off, which is smart. So, but we'll get a hold of him. And when we come back, we got a sports update, some NFL stuff. Haven't even got into what Chris Pronger said about signing a deal with the Edmonton Oilers while in the middle of the night and drunk. And Kevin Lowe has come out and refuted that report because it's 2026 and here we are. And we'll talk more about these Stanley Cup playoffs, tonight's NHL games. Sean Hogan coming up next hour from College Hockey Inc. He's the executive director, and I really like that guy. And you're going to like him too for Prairie Panels. We'll be back after this timeout. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live Podcast, WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly, we built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm smiling because I know it's coming, and you don't. So just stay tuned. And it's nothing wild. It's just some fun comments from the viewers. 902-518-3033. I love these days where it's just you. We could do it every day. Me for 2 hours. It ain't that long. I've barely taken a breath yet, and we've been on the air for 44 minutes today. Joe in Long Island, hello. The Larry King of Sports is what you're watching right now on Game Plus. Joe Lazito says, I just want to reiterate how legendary the Rick Bowness press conference was. I believe he spoke for many coaches last night. He may as well have been talking about my New York Islanders. Stop. Put it in park. Let's talk about this for a second. That's why I'm annoyed, Joe. Were you watching off the start of the show? I'm annoyed at the media. I'll just say a hockey news writer for saying, don't talk about the pressure in Leafville when no Leafs coaches ever talked like this. He's being honest. Okay, and that's the one thing that the fans, you got to understand. Yeah, that's why I hear it all the time. Everybody wants to work in sports. Everybody wants to work for a team because they think it's all charter jets and tracksuits. And it's not. There's a hell of a lot of pressure. A hell of a lot of pressure on everybody, not just the head coach. But you know why Rick Bowness snapped last night? Because it all falls on him. Do you not understand that? So here's James writes in. He says, Bones calls out his team transparency. Yes, exactly. As Joe just said, he speaks for a lot of coaches. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, guys like Bonus have seen at least a couple generations of players. It doesn't surprise me the current generation are a real handful. I see that Sheldon Keefe was addressing the media this morning over in New Jersey. They're missing the playoffs. This is the one thing that I'm staying off social media has actually been a really great thing, or limiting my time. I've just seen that my mood has improved a lot because of the incessant whining of people. Yeah, the point is Sheldon Keefe saying, had a bad year. It's tough to make the playoffs. And I see people complaining about the Oilers and Evan Bouchard and like they're in again with time to spare. Please stop complaining. Sit back and enjoy. It's hard to get into the playoffs. You got one of the best teams in the NHL. Chill out. Joe Lazito from Long Island continues. He says, I was watching from the start. And to be fair, Ken Campbell can't help himself. He's an idiot. I mean, at some point, because I don't like the name calling, I don't like this stuff, but he's sitting back poking crap at everybody all the time. At some point, you need to be called out for that. And that's what's happening today. And again, so before I get to the sports update and the rest, Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, you're right, Rod. It's the coach's ass on the line. So it's nice to see more of them stand up and rip into their teams. Well, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes, because if Johnny's feelings were hurt from the third line of the Columbus Blue Jackets and they stomp into the GM's office or the president's office or the owner's office, that'll be the end of Rick Bowness. So, but here's the thing. Bones don't care. He doesn't need the job. And that's where life gets sweet. Oh, speaking of sweet, I said that Friday night, because of the tech issues, which was nobody's fault other than the internet gods, I said rather than blowing a pipe, I went to the Boca Town Center and had supper there, sat and watched the people go by, and then went for a drive around South Florida and just, it was awesome. I would suggest that for anybody. Utah Darren writes in, he says, I miss people watching in the airport. It used to be a fun date. A bucket of KFC and watch people run through the airport. Yeah, that does sound like fun. But I'll tell you what, you ain't people watched until you've people watched in Florida. Because you're sitting back. It's a little like Estevan, not totally different. You sit back and go, is that his daughter? Or here is that his granddaughter? Should I ask? Listen, it's fun. Listen, it's fun. Especially where I'm from, it's fun where Mom did it. But everybody largely looked the same. Here, everybody's different. It's such a buffet of people trying to guess what language they're speaking. It's just fun. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Just can't get over that people can't get over what Rick Bowness said last night. Let me just continue this. NFL reporter Diana Rossini has resigned from The Athletic less than a week after published photos of her and Patriots coach Mike Vrabel at an Arizona resort prompted an internal investigation at the New York Times-owned sports outlet. Rossini joined The Athletic in 2023 after nearly a decade at ESPN, where she held various roles, including Sports Center, anchor, NFL analyst, and insider. She posted a podcast for The Athletic and made appearances on their video platform. You notice that unlike some other shows, especially the independently owned ones like Florio's NBC Sports Radio, Pro Football Talk, I haven't talked about that. I learned my lesson. So I won't be talking about this here. Other than that, when Diana Rossini tabled her resignation, it is what it is. Her spot will be filled in 2 seconds. It's the way that it is. A lot of people dying for those jobs. By the way, Hour 1 brought to you in part by Suds Full-Service Car Wash. Stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards. Available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. Coming back in Hour 2, a little more of the hockey talk. Okay, Carlos in Indiana. Well, what I love about Carlos, there's a lot of things that I love about Carlos. He's just waiting in the weeds for the football talk. He says, what an NFL offseason. Or what's an NFL offseason without some soap opera antics? I say this all the time. Carlos, you've been watching this show almost since day one. Episode 1717 is what we are at here today. More so football than any other league, although other leagues have their off-season issues too. What happens when they're not playing? People get in trouble. Boom. Get onto the field. It's just, yeah. Jeff in Toronto writes in, he says, LOL, as they say, don't crap where you work. Sorry, couldn't resist. Listen, you guys, you want to tee off on that story, go ahead. As I said, I learned my lesson. I'm not going any further down that road. Nope. 902-518-3033. What else would you all like to discuss here? Vintage Sasko writes in on that very same text line, 902-518-3033. He says, hey, Father Rodney, your ever-changing background display is looking lit. Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, I took my glasses off. Did you notice? We've changed a few things here since last week's issues. And I have a tough time reading my screen when I got my glasses on. When I got a guest, it's not as hard. Weird. I put this sign up. I bought this. It says, for the radio people that can't hear it, when we recover loudly, we keep others from dying quietly. That's a recovery saying. I bought that at our Sober Bowl party at Super Bowl in Las Vegas. If you go and check at my recovery Facebook page at Pedersen Recovery, where that's the backbone of my mental health and addiction recovery coaching business, Lee Steinberg and I posed with that photo. He is the ultimate of agents. The man that Jerry Maguire was based on. And the whole idea is when we recover from our maladies, various mental health issues, addiction issues, when we do it loudly and we tell people that we did it and recovery works and it's possible, what does it say? We keep others from dying quietly. Those that kept it a secret or those that were too ashamed. Sort of be afraid of. We had problems. We dealt with them. They're over. Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Jason in red. Did you say 1 minute or 2 minutes? Core? 2 minutes? Thanks. Gotcha. Jason in red here says, I'm very curious about more RHI details if you can give any more. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to know. Things are changing all the time. And again, thank you. That's Roller Hockey International. That's that professional inline hockey league from the 90s that ran for 6 seasons. We are bringing it back. I am part of a group in Florida doing it. They came to me and said, would you be involved? I'm like, why do you want me? And then they explained why. I'm like, oh, I can do that. And the most beautiful thing is they're in charge. They're all the big money people. But they're like, hey, that was 30 years ago. That was before streaming. That was before sports betting. That was before the internet. They're like, you've made a pretty big splash in digital media and all of these things, and you know all the hockey guys, so can we work together? And I'm like, yeah, but, and they're like, say whatever you want. They trust me. Some of them are old CFL people, believe it or not. They know me from that. And where we're at is, it's what's real fun is that cities are changing. They had 12 cities identified, but the cities are changing, and Initially, there wasn't going to be, I'll stop with some of those locations. They had 12 designated, but more are popping up. Everybody wants a team. And there's a lot of guys with money, more money than they know what to do with. So, yeah, they're like, hey, Rod, do you have this guy's number? Yes, I do. Here you go. So we'll ask me some questions. We can talk about it coming back in hour 2. I can talk about this forever. Sean Hogan will be with us from College Hockey Inc. He's the executive director next hour. That's going to be big fun. We'll talk more Stanley Cup playoffs coming back right after this timeout.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
All aboard the RP train. It's your conductor speaking. We welcome the viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports, and those that continue to watch for some reason across Canada and 33 states here on Game Plus Television. Also coming your way on YouTube, WQVZ Radio, and a variety of other platforms. We're having fun. This really is just a continuation of hour one, and I'll explain why in a second, but I do want to tell you a couple things. Take care of business. Our esteemed guest today is Sean Hogan. He's the executive director of College Hockey, Inc. He has dedicated his life to the pure sport of hockey. Sean Hogan, he'll be joining us. Original Michigan guy, to recap the Frozen Four in Vegas on the weekend, which Denver won, as you know, and his appearance is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 1-306-985-0050. I feel like there's a jingle in there somewhere. Yeah, Prairie Panels, thanks for coming aboard. All right, let's get down to business. Quick Six show topics. Well, in my world, the Quick Six, the big story, which is brought to you by our friends Neil Chark at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, is the National Hockey League. And before we look ahead to tonight's games, it was a pretty wild night. For a Tuesday where there was a lot of meaningless games by non-playoff teams, a lot came out of it, and what everybody's talking about in my world, in the hockey world, is Rick Bowness in Columbus ripping his team. He was the guy that took over for the fired Dean Evison and had them dang close, this close to making the playoffs, being the second team only to be in last place at New Year's and make the playoffs. They were in a playoff spot, but got bounced out, and he flipped out last night on his team after the game and said, if I'm back next year, I'm fixing the culture. Not enough of these guys here care. They don't hate to lose. And to be honest, it does not surprise me that the main viewership of this show agree with Rick Bowness, as do I. There are some in the media that just don't get it. And the unfortunate thing is there's getting to be more and more and more of those people, both male and female, that you just don't get it. So the coach goes off because you know why? It's his ass waving in the wind. At some point, the coaches have had enough of players that don't care. And it's not a new thing. It's not just about the youth in today's player. It's not. I guess let me roll this back. I know a lot of you have been with us for the whole show as we roll into hour two here, but I'll draw this parallel again because I have to. And I had it with hockey too, but in the Canadian Football League, when I got into the league in 1999, our team wasn't very good and had been bad for a decade. And we had a lot of Hall of Fame players on that team, but we were just bad. It was the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Some of them might be watching here today. And when I got on that bus, I mean, I was only 25, 26, but I knew I've been around sports my whole life that I'm like, these guys don't care. We just got our ass whipped, and they don't care. And it wasn't that they were laughing and joking and playing cards. I mean, that came later. It was just that zombie looking out the window. They didn't care. Because as a human condition, you got two choices: feel the pain or get numb. These guys felt the pain. They're over it. They're just numb. And that's what's going on in Columbus, too. So the point is, they all got to go. How do you fix a culture? We're not going to spend as much time on it here this hour as we did last because I don't really know. I've been around winning teams, losing teams, winning organizations, losing like businesses. And there's not one way. That's what's fun about trying to build it. But who builds a culture? Something's got to change in Columbus. And basically, Rick Bowness is saying, if I'm back here next year, I'm changing it because this is unacceptable. And we all love it. Speaking of human condition, I feel like do I have it here? Yeah, I just got to read this just because. I got to get this off my chest. It's from the sports update that I didn't get to last hour for the Ultimate Fan Zone. But Boston Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran directed an obscene gesture toward a fan at Target Field in Minnesota yesterday as he returned to the dugout after a fifth-inning groundout in Tuesday's 6-0 loss. The Red Sox lost to the host Twins. Duran has spoken about his past struggles with mental health, and he says the fan told him to kill himself. Duran called the fan's comment triggering. He discussed bouts with severe depression and a suicide attempt in a Netflix series that debuted last year. So obviously I'm on his side. Talked about this earlier, about the concept of recovery. And I want to get that out and off my chest because if you tell somebody to kill themselves, that's illegal, just so you know. And if we can prove you said it, we're coming for your ass. So I feel like Duran is not going to get any discipline, I would hope, from Major League Baseball. But you know what? In today's sports, who the hell knows? Probably be suspended for 10 games. I don't know. By the way, the warm-up is brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, and specifically Neil Chark. They're the official travel partner of the RP show, and the BC Lions. Talked about this last hour. We sold out that trip to Toronto in August twice. No, you did, not me. So thank you. So dozens of happy and lucky sports fans are going to Rogers Center to watch the Jays and the Yanks for 2, and then down to the Hammer to watch the Riders and the Tabbies on the Sunday. Thank you for selling out the trip twice. And now Neil's like, where do you want to go now? Just hang on. To point 2. Well, and speaking of all that, the viewers last hour got all horny about the thing that I'm all excited about, that I'm part of this ownership group here in South Florida that are going to bring back Roller Hockey International. So the viewers are asking a lot of questions. They say, when are they going to play? So it ran for 6 seasons in the 90s. Anaheim Bullfrogs, the New Jersey Rock and Rollers. What's the team? Joe on Long Island, the New York Jaws was the team. So they're saying, when are they going to play? Listen, if it was up to me, we'd be playing this summer. But here's the thing about these big money guys and girls. They don't rush things. They're doing it right. And actually, that's a very good thing for everybody. So I just do what they tell me. They ask for my advice. So the summer of 2028, Jason, is what they're shooting for. But it is coming together very fast. But it's changing quickly, too, because there was 12 cities identified, and it's the staples. I don't think they mind saying New York, Chicago, L.A. They all had teams the first time. But there's now more cities that want in. And it's fun. And that's why I talked to Tiger Williams yesterday, because I called Tiger related to roller hockey. And he's like, I had the best time with the Vancouver Voodoo. He was the coach. He was the owner. He's like, whatever you guys need, I'm in. But I'm not coaching. And I said, we didn't ask you to coach. It's going to be great. It's already great. I'm having so much fun. And again, I'm not in charge. I don't want to be in charge. I just want to do my thing. It's great. Everybody's happy that way. Point 2, Stanley Cup Playoffs. Poll question today is for Country Thunder, Saskatchewan. Biggest party of the summer is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson and Creed. You can get your tickets for as low as $20 deposit right now. Your weekend pass at countrythunder.com/SK. Poll question is, which first-round Eastern Conference series will be the best in the National Hockey League? The Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Montreal Canadiens. They have my vote. Last place in the vote, surprises me a little bit, Buffalo, Boston. Maybe that'll change before the voting closes in the next 22 hours. Ottawa, Carolina is a series that I feel is only interesting to the two fan bases. And who am I missing? Oh, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, the Battle of Pennsylvania, which is the 8th all-time meeting between the Flyers and Penguins, the most ever for geographic rivals in National Hockey League history. Oh, it is tantalizing. So it's been fun down the stretch, talking with my hockey people in the press box and even on the phone. Is it good or bad that there's not as many Canadian teams? And what about these markets? Overall, as we now hurtle towards the playoffs starting on Saturday, I think we all agree that it's pretty good that we got all these new franchises in the playoffs. It's the second most turnover year over year in NHL history. So that's they have Gary Bettman smiling like a butcher's dog, won't it? 902-518-3033. There he is. There he is. Look who showed up. Don't mind me. John Ohm. What do you got to say for yourself, John? He says, I'm at the driving range. Golf, that is. We know. See any Jets out there? One day, you guys got to meet my neighbor, Fish. He had this one. Because I told him that I was going to Tiger Woods' golf simulator on the weekend, which I did. SoFi Center. The one owned by Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. And Fish says, Tiger needs a driving simulator, not a golf simulator. Boom. Way to go, Fish. Kevin the Medium checking in says, I am getting excited for the roller hockey. Yeah, we all are. Can I say this? to the ownership group who watches every day. I would like specifically to see a team in Las Vegas. I personally would like to see a team in Las Vegas. We've had some talks. Right now, it's not planned for Las Vegas. But I hope that changes. We got 2 years. So. Oh, and by the way, I'll be pulling for and cheering for Tampa Bay in round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs against Montreal. Don't at me. You Habs fans have enough of your own fans. You don't need me. And as my guy Johnny Ohm would say, you guys remember Johnny Ohm? We did some shows from there last 2 falls ago. Johnny O Fitness. He's like the most famous Florida fitness guy. He goes, Rod, you always want, he's from Boston. You always want to be the guy going the other direction. Everybody's going this way, you go that way. That's always been me, Johnny, and it's been particularly lonely and largely a pain in my ass. But if you say to do it, then I'll keep doing it. I'll be cheering for Tampa Bay against Montreal. I'll be the only guy. Here in Florida, there will be a lot of people pulling for the Lightning, obviously, but not Panthers fans, because we ran a poll and 68% of the Panthers fans saying they won't be cheering for the Lightning. Some people are saying that's news. It actually is, because up until a few years ago, the fan bases actually got along. Now they friggin' hate each other, which is actually a really good thing and good for business. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain for the live audience. Thank you, Carlos. Carlos, pointing. I'll say this to you and everybody else. Just envision the ideal you and a positive ending for the situation you're in, and then live in that. And let everybody else catch up to that world. It works, man. Trust me. Let me know how it goes. Colt checks in from San Diego. Colt in San Diego, hello. Says, let's go, Ducks. So happy we are finally back in the playoffs. And we play the Oilers in the first round. Talking to Carius and Scruffy yesterday, 2 Oiler fans. I said, does that series scare you? They both said no. I'm like, it should. Nothing against the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, we talked about this earlier. It's hard to make the Stanley Cup playoffs, but they do it every year, and their own fan base still craps on them. Oiler fans have talked me into not being an Oiler backer because of what they say. Evan Bouchard sucks. The goaltending's terrible. I thought you guys were fans of your team. I know who's a fan of his team. Utah Darren writes in, I guarantee we'll be the only one on the air in Utah today. Man, that might not be. I was going to say talking Stanley Cup playoffs, but probably the Utah stations are. Yeah. The other networks are not, as you tune in here on Game Plus TV. Across Canada and 33 states, including Utah. Utah says 11:11 in God's country, Mountain Time Zone. I'll be in that time zone soon, and I'm looking forward to it. Trent in Norway, hello. He writes, he says, Norway here. My picks for the NHL semis are Montreal, Carolina, Colorado, and Edmonton. We'll see if round 1 goes totally crazy. Stay well, everyone. Well, it's the quarters. I just put that out there for the sake of accuracy. Yeah, the Long Island Jaws. Thank you, Joe Lazito and Long. That was the name of the roller hockey team in New York. The Long Island Jaws. I feel like tomorrow when Kevin the Medium joins us, that's when we'll be doing our first round Stanley Cup picks. Be a perfect day to do it because Friday's Football Friday. For the footballers, there are 2 things, maybe 3. From the NFL, draft preview stuff, I'm way past tired of hearing about that. 2, the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel, past talking about that. That's the only 2 things. Oh, my God. The CFL, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, announced a $12.1 million profit. That was this morning from the 2025 season, and that believed to be a CFL record. So that's the football news right there. BW in Edmonton writes in, he says, any RHI teams in Canada or Western time zones? Yeah, I can tell you Quebec. That's all I want to say. And Vancouver. Those are the two cities right now, although they're beating our door down too. And a lot of others. Right now, Quebec and Vancouver targeted, but if Sean's watching, it's Roller Hockey International. We're bringing it back. Anybody that knows hockey remembers RHI 1.0, and we're bringing back 2.0. Summer 2028. If it's up to me, we'll do it a lot sooner. Coming right back with Sean Hogan, Executive Director, College Hockey Inc. You're watching the RP Show across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada and 33 states right here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
The RP Show continues across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada on Game Plus TV. Welcome aboard, everybody. We have our NHL picks for the night coming up, brought to you by Pump Jack Steakhouse and Pump Jack Saloon. come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Hey, in Vegas, they stayed late. I don't know if Sean Hogan did or not, the executive director of College Hockey Inc. Welcome back home, Sean. Frozen Four is behind you. It looked amazing. Was it as good as it looked on television on ESPN?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I have one of those jobs where I pinch myself sometimes, where I watched the Frozen Four from a suite in Las Vegas. I went to the Spengler Cup this year in Davos, Switzerland. Not bad for a guy who never was really all that good as a player. Just kept sticking around the game, and opportunities started to present themselves. And yeah, Frozen Four was fantastic. A lot of fun, outstanding event, well attended. Games were fantastic. They rated really well in the States on ESPN, so everything was a big win.
Yeah, it couldn't have been better. And by the way, I said to the viewers last hour, I said, Sean's a guy that's dedicated his life to hockey. I said it before you even explained how and why that you did. So, yeah, it's awesome. Well, you know what? Before we go any further, would you mind just tell people about College Hockey Inc., because this is the first time you've aired on our channel in Nevada, where they just had the tourney. So they should know about College Hockey Inc.
Yeah, so College Hockey, I'm the executive director of an organization called College Hockey Inc., and we do a variety of things at College Hockey Inc. Everything from trying to grow the number of NCAA Division I teams on the men's and women's side. We have a partnership with the NHL where they'll pay for feasibility studies for athletic departments to explore adding hockey, and that's more important now because there's so many more players eligible to play in NCAA Division I hockey. We do all the marketing for college hockey, so we tell the stories of some of our great players and the route to the NHL. We educate players and families, especially in Canada and especially in Europe, about the eligibility process and why they should play college hockey. But we grew from an organization that had one goal at one time, that was to keep as many players back then out of the CHL because they were ineligible, to now it's really play wherever you want, but knowing and understanding that your next step to the NHL is going to involve college hockey. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 4 years of college hockey, but more and more players are going to be coming out of college hockey to the NHL.
And your right-hand man is from my hometown, Jason Hajdu. He's the reason we're talking here today, so I want to throw that out there. Sean, I love my chats with you. Yeah, I love my chats with you and him. But give me the feel. I'm sitting here watching it on ESPN, dying that I'm not there. I heard the Strip was just full of fans from – it's like a Super Bowl. It's like all these things, man. But the green and white in North Dakota and a lot of red and white, obviously. I mean, it looked like a Notre Dame Hounds inter-squad game. Some of those games. I just heard it was unbelievable. The atmosphere outside the rink.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the Frozen Four in general is regardless of whether your team makes it, there's fans from everywhere. It's a celebration of hockey across the board. And one of the things that's a tradition at the Frozen Four is all the fans wear different types of jerseys. So it's all the different college hockey jerseys, all these different junior jerseys, all these different youth jerseys. Everybody's wearing a hockey jersey. And it's a really unique, eclectic environment because no other sport does that. If you go to like the college basketball championship, there's usually fans from both sides, but this is fans just celebrating the game. There's 5,000 or 6,000 fans of the Frozen Four that come every year, regardless of who's in the Frozen Four, and that's a special thing for this small sport of college hockey. 63 NCAA Division I teams, but we can fill an entire stadium in Vegas, bring fans from all over the world, and everybody comes together and just celebrates our great game.
Well, and you talked about how great the games were, largely all one-goal games, overtime games. Like, is that always the case for the Frozen? Refresh my memory. I mean, it was a dream.
Yeah, it's not always the case, but
yeah,
it's not always the case, but it tends to, when you get to any championship level, the last 4 teams remaining are all very, very good hockey teams. So it ends up being one or two goal games. But what makes our game unique, I say this about college hockey all the time when I'm speaking to different universities about why you should add it. The big brands in college hockey don't always win the national championship. So Denver's a big hockey brand, but Denver doesn't have an NCAA Division I football team, right? And they're competing for the national championship in hockey. It's not always the Power Four conferences or schools from the SEC. We don't have that in hockey. It's schools of all types of different models and makeups that can compete for a national championship. And these games came down to the wire. I mean, Wisconsin probably was the better team through 50 minutes of that championship game. And Denver battled back in the final 10 minutes to win 2-1. So, and then the game never was a goal either way the entire time. So it was an exciting atmosphere, tense atmosphere. You couldn't ask for more of an environment.
Well, it's kind of funny because I'm on the edge of my couch And I'm like, I don't really care. Why am I so into this? And then, of course, I'm like, I can't
Sweating
name a
out.
player on any team. Right. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Chizowski, Buckberger, Buckberger. I know these names. So that's a whole other story. But, Sean, you're a hockey guy. You got your ear to the ground. This won't surprise you. The talk in Canada is Penn State not making it with Gavin McKenna on the club. Like, how much of the talk was that? Were they close? Like,
yeah, they were close. They made the NCAA national tournament. They finished in the top 16. Again, college hockey is unique in the sense that these aren't 7-game series. These aren't 5-game series. These playoffs. This is one and done. So anything can happen in a one and done format. The 16 team can beat the first place team in any given Sunday, like they say in the NFL, right? So that happens sometimes. It comes down to a block shot either way, a deflection off a stick. So there was no surprise. I just think in college hockey especially, everybody's within a half goal of one another. The games are won on the margins. They're won with a face-off play worked or it didn't work. Everything comes down to just a few different plays throughout a game. But it was a successful year for Gavin. Struggled a little bit in the first half, had a great second half, likely to go first overall in the NHL, and college hockey was part of that process.
I want to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs with you in a second, but just first, Frozen 4 in Vegas. Who would have ever thought? Now, I'm sitting here in South Florida, which I think you know, and the hockey fans are here like, do you think we could ever get it? And I'm like, I wouldn't think so, but I would have never thought Vegas would be a hockey town. And credit to the Golden Knights for making it such. And maybe you know the Arizona Coyotes owners, when they were all Canadians, they wanted to have it in Phoenix, and that never happened. Are there any non-traditional more hockey markets on the schedule? Like, where do you see this going? Because who would have ever thought Vegas would be so successful?
Yeah, well, the next two, next year is in Washington, D.C. There's no college hockey team there, but obviously the Capitals. The year after that, it's in Chicago, more of a traditional market. Typically, we like to work in Boston. We like to work in Minneapolis. But I think the rotation is going to be Boston and Minneapolis will always be involved once every 4 years. And then we'll maybe try an outlier like Las Vegas. And then maybe in an NHL city for the fourth one. But what's unique about this and why I think this is a good idea in a place like Vegas is UNLV is out there. They have a very successful club hockey team. Maybe the administration at the university sees the Frozen Four there. Well, what a fantastic event. We want our university to be a part of it. So bringing the Frozen Four around and having different universities see it might give them the itch to maybe explore adding NCAA Division I hockey. And now we're growing the game. And like I said before, it's so important that we have more teams and more coaching opportunities and more playing opportunities, because the playing pool of elite hockey players has never been bigger, and we need to have spots for these outstanding players.
Well, I'm just saying, FAU's got FAU Owls have a hell of a club team too.
That would be great.
That kid plays there. Yeah. We would love to have you. We'd love to have it. Let's put it that way. Anything else on this before we switch to the Stanley Cup playoffs?
No. Yeah, I love talking college hockey. It was outstanding, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you'll be watching the college guys in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, it's the second highest turnover year over year in NHL history for new teams in. So how do you feel about this field? We know who the 16 teams are. We just don't know yet, as of today, what all the series in the West are. But what are you going to be watching?
Well, I will start with saying I am a Detroit Red Wings guy. Grew up as a Red Wings fan. And what happened this year with the Red Wings? I can't put my finger on what happened. It's been all the talk around here. What do we do? What do we do in the GM position? What needs to be done with the Wings? That's the part that disappoints me the most. I would think probably one of the favorites. It's so hard to tell the NHL again, because our game, hockey in particular, isn't like the team with the most superstars doesn't always win. Who's going to be most gritty? Who's going to win the corner battles? Who's going to win out front? Wasn't that long ago the 16th seed won the Stanley Cup, the Kings. So it's really hard to say what'll happen, but I'll fall back on my team is not in the playoffs for the 10th year in a row for a very proud franchise, and that is just deeply disheartening.
Well, I'm going to the game in Sunrise tonight. The Wings are here. And I'm going to do my best to avoid Todd McClellan, who I've known for a very long time. It's going to be like a funeral there tonight. Well, both teams are missing the playoffs. But it's in 10 years out of the playoffs after winning 4 Stanley Cups in the 25 years prior to that. So yeah, you've seen both sides of it for sure. Is there?
Yeah, we were. I was spoiled growing up for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. But hey, everybody's talking about Rick Bowness ripping into the Blue Jackets players last night. I would love to know your take on that. Like, I don't know why people are so surprised and so almost offended. He goes, "These guys don't hate to lose enough." He's just saying the truth.
I saw that, and I actually sent that to some of my buddies who are coaching, and I was wondering to myself, and I asked them, "Is this?" I've seen more and more of this. Todd had those moments with the Red Wings this year. What is it? Why is it happening? Is this true? Is this just me getting older and the coaches getting older and just being shake your fist at the clouds? Or is this an actual issue where we're not seeing enough grit in our players competing for the most prestigious cup in the world? And what do we do, right? But I think as a head coach, that's you're warranted to call your guys out in frustration. You're putting in a lot of work, and you can't be the guy that cares the most in the room. I'll say that if you're the head coach and you care the most, you're not going to have a lot of success. So I think that's the message he was trying to convey.
I couldn't agree more. And it's not like everybody want to say it's today's generation of players. No, it's not. Because I'm around the Florida Panthers all the time. They're an older team, but every team's makeup is generally the same. It's a culture thing. They've lost so long in Columbus, they don't care anymore. The problem, that's the thing with you, with the Wings, with your team, you got to be a little worried about how and when do you turn this around and who's responsible for that? Because Stevie Y coming in, nobody expected this.
7 years ago. Yeah, it's been some time. So yeah, I think as a head coach, you want to set your culture. You want to get the right players and hold them accountable to that culture. And I really liked what he said. He said, I don't know if I'm going to be back this year, but essentially, if I'm back this year, I'm turning this thing around. I'm changing the culture of this program and this organization, and we're going to get back to winning again. I feel for him.
I know. Well, and the other thing is, you said you're seeing it a lot with coaches, not just in hockey. There's 2 basketball coaches in the NCAA that got in a lot of trouble. One kept his job, one didn't, for saying the kids don't care. I mean, what are you seeing with the players that come through college hockey? The desire is still there. Human nature does not change, I wouldn't think.
No, yeah, I think with most, at least with hockey, I feel like I'm going to be one of those hockey guys now that talks about how great our game is. But the way our game is structured and how you have to compete on every shift, for loose pucks, it's a physical game. It's a grinded out game. It's a game of attrition, really. And I'm a big college basketball fan. I am. But there's times in college basketball that you kind of just stand there, right? In hockey, you're constantly moving. You're constantly competing. You have 30 seconds to go hard. I think all kids want to win. I think sometimes there's confusion on what it takes to win at the highest level. And some of the great coaches in the game, David Carl at Denver, for example, finds a way to get the most out of his players every shift, battling through adversity. They're down a goal in the national championship game, being completely outplayed, and they come out in the third and the final 10 minutes to win the game. And I think that's the difference. The difference is coaches that have the ability to drag that out of players. And I think that's what Bowness was getting at. He's like, I'm going to drag it out of these guys if it kills me. So he'll have success next year.
Yeah. When you mention hoops too, it's men's and women's coaches are losing their stuff. It's not a gender thing. I don't know that it's an age thing. It's interesting to watch. And I'll tell you, I never wanted to coach. So I'm like, I don't know why you guys wanted to do this in the first place. Which, by the way, speaking of all this, everybody wants a PWHL team now. We should talk about women's hockey, and the Olympics was pretty exciting too for women's hockey with College Hockey Inc. You guys talk about that too. The women's side of the game. Where's that going, man? It looks pretty exciting.
Yeah, so we'll start on the college side. We're very lucky. We were able to increase our funding to create a position on the women's side. Sadie Lundquist, she's our deputy director. She does everything that we do on the men's side. On the women's side, one of the things that we're excited about is some growth on the women's NCAA Division I side. We're working with the University of Michigan on a committee trying to create a women's team there. That would be outstanding growth opportunity because I'm from the state of Michigan, live in the state of Michigan, and believe it or not, there's 7 NCAA Division I men's hockey programs, 0 women's. NCAA hockey program. So that needs to change. There's outstanding young women playing hockey in Michigan. They're leaving the state. They're going to different universities. So that would be a big win for us. We recently added University of Delaware women's hockey on the East Coast. That was 2 years ago. So the growth is there. The potential is there. I keep hearing Detroit as a spot for a PWHL team. That would be outstanding. And I'm hearing the PWHL possibly growing to as many as 2 or 3 teams here shortly. And that is outstanding. They have a television deal. I get to watch it on TV. I went to the women's Frozen Four at Penn State. It was an outstanding venue, full house. The hockey was amazing. And there's just so many growth opportunities on the women's side, and I'm glad that College Hockey Inc. is starting to lead in that direction.
Yeah, and I would ask you where and when and why it changed, and I will ask you that. I would offer the quality of play went from here to here. Like it's really good now. Sports fans aren't stupid. That would be my guess, but maybe it's something else. What have you identified?
Yeah, I think part of the reason it's gotten so much better is the pool of players has gotten so much bigger, and that comes with the success of Hockey Canada's women's program and USA Hockey's women's program. They're 2 leaders in the world when it comes to women's hockey. Some of the European teams are definitely catching up, but those border battle games, those championship games in the Olympics with US and Canada, it just draws so many eyeballs, and then you realize how competitive and how elite those athletes are. I have a daughter, and I know that she's like watching it like, this is outstanding. So it just creates more opportunities, and I think that's why it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, I'll wrap it up with this. We got about 3 minutes. So your team's not in. You're the perfect guy to ask. I've been asking our viewers this. If your team's not in the Stanley Cup playoffs, who do you want to see win? There must be somebody, Sean.
So I'm going to go with the Avs. I became very lucky to – one, they have outstanding players, but I'm a big fan of Cal McCarr. College guy, did a great job at UMass, jumped right from the Frozen Four to the NHL playoffs. That's probably 5, 6, 7 years ago now. But watching his development, got to know his dad a little bit, so that makes it more personal. So yeah, and my wife's from Colorado, so that's what we'll be watching.
They call him the face of minor hockey in Calgary. I would not argue that. I would have thought maybe Braden Point, but they say it's Cale Makar. Maybe because Colorado's closer to Calgary, I'm not sure, but he's a hell of a player. It's going to be a good run for sure. How about so you say Colorado? Anybody in the East, or do you just dislike everybody because you're a Wings fan?
Yeah, we're just. I don't want anybody calling me and saying, "Hey, what are you doing rooting for other teams?" So we'll just be bitter.
All right. Well, I know that you'll be keeping your ear to the ground with what's going on with Detroit, because I don't think anybody knows where they're going with that hockey club. But I'll be cheering for you tonight with the Wings here in Sunrise tonight. Sean, thanks for the time, man. Congrats on a great
close it out with a win.
Great
Come
job.
on, give us something.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate the time. Keep in touch.
Thanks, Rod.
Sean Hogan, the executive director of College Hockey Inc., joining us as we put a wrap on a very successful Frozen Four in Las Vegas, with the Denver Pioneers winning a very exciting game on the Saturday night at T-Mobile Arena. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. 902-518-3033 is the text line number. Anything of what we've talked about today, I would love to discuss with you when we return. We're broadcasting on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, guide through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV. I'm just checking all the comments from the viewers and everything here. The interview with Sean Hogan, very popular guy. Obviously, he's got a lot of comments from the viewers. There's a very broken guy as a Detroit Red Wings fan. Who do you want to win in the East? Nobody. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, did I hear somebody write in earlier that the Oilers are playing the Ducks in round one? I don't believe those matchups are set yet. I just let it go. My suggestion to anybody is if you see something that's wrong or just let it go. Like clouds over your head, they'll be gone in a second. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, Adam Woden at College Hockey News wrote a piece about how players seem more focused on their own development rather than the team. Is Sean aware of this? Is there any merit to Woden's opinion? We don't need to ask Sean. Hey, Shocks, are you watching? A good friend of mine was down coaching a U.S. team in the States, and Shocks, I don't think you mind. He said, he came back, he goes, that the kids, it was all-American team, they're more interested in what you just said, in their own stats, the way that they were raised or the way that it is. I don't know. So that's, to me, not news. And Glenn, you're around hockey all the time. I'm sure you understand it. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Detroit Tigers closer Kenley Jansen recorded his 479th career save in Tuesday's win over the Royals, passing Lee Smith for the third most in MLB history. Only Mariano Rivera and Trevor Hoffman have more. Sunday's final round at Augusta averaged 14 million viewers on CBS. I was one, were you? Including a peak of 20 million, making it the most watched final round of the Masters since 2015. My thinking on that, and you're watching this show because you want to know my thinking on these things, is it that more people are watching than ever? Or is it because of technology has made it more accurate? Or they're just beefing up the numbers with said technology? I think it's the latter. But the numbers are the numbers. And good for them. Inter Miami soccer head coach Javier Mascherano is stepping down due to personal reasons just 4 months after leading Miami to their first MLS title. U.S. Soccer Sporting Director Matt Kruckner is stepping down to work for the Saudi Arabian Federation. Everybody's stepping down. Former Michigan head coach Sharon Moore avoided jail time for the actions that led to him being fired in December. He was instead sentenced to 18 months of probation following his previously agreed-upon plea deal. There are 6 games in the NHL tonight, including a regular season-ending Battle of Ontario in Ottawa. The Senators, who clinched the second wildcard berth in the East, will host the Toronto Maple Leafs, who will miss the playoffs. Elsewhere, the Vegas Golden Knights can clinch the Pacific Division title with a win over the visiting Seattle Kraken. The reason I stumbled? The service for which I pay says elsewhere the Golden Knights, unbeaten since John Tortorella took over. Wrong. They're 6-0-1. Why do I pay for this? The sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store is your fan cave headquarters. Visit them in store or click on over to ultimatefanzone.ca. I know that they're excited about the junior hockey playoffs in Canada for sure. Darren writes in. He says, I would love to be part of the Whitney Forum tonight. What a zoo that'll be. Well, they call it the zoo, the home of Bobby Clark and that whole gang. Bob writes in, he says, good day, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat. The best series will be Montreal and Tampa Bay, with Montreal taking it in 6 games. Have a great day, Rod. You're awesome. So are you, Bob. Darcy writes in, he's watching in Grand Prairie. He says, Tampa Bay versus Montreal for me, too. I smell an upset. Tomorrow, we're going to make our picks for tonight's games coming back in overtime right after this. But tomorrow with Kevin the Medium, we'll make our first-round Stanley Cup predictions. And I want yours all, too. There's always one upset in the 8th series, sometimes more. That'll be fun to talk about tomorrow with Kevin the Medium. And it's not fair because he's a psychic. I feel like he's got an edge on us all. Still a Vancouver Canucks fan, so, I mean, we'll be right back on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. An amusement park for hockey players. I say it pretty much every day. Go down and check it out if you're from the southern Alberta region or you're traveling through Calgary on a road trip. I didn't realize till I spent so much time in Calgary what a tourist mecca that it is. So if it's on your docket for visiting, make Overtime Hockey Lanes one of your stops. And Randy and Michelle, they dedicated their life to hockey. Just like our prior guest, Sean Hogan. I've really enjoyed the back and forth with you, the viewers, today, talking about these Stanley Cup playoffs and so forth. BW in Edmonton writes in and he says, Buffalo will be the upset in the first round. Doan will have 7 points. By the way, how was Pump Jacks, BW? You said you were going there. I'm holding you your word that you did. I got to take my glass. Got this glare happening. Joe Lazito's been hanging out with us all day for 2 hours. Appreciate you, Joe. On Long Island, he writes in, he says, it took a while, but hockey has finally caught up to the other sports with the me over team mentality. For vintage folks like us, it's a tough reality to accept since we experienced the good old days. Well, as I say, Joe, what do I say all the time? Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Those were good times. The hockey's still good. It was 10, 15 years ago, probably 10 years ago. I was kind of sitting there going, I don't know if I want to keep watching hockey. It's not like what we grew up with and enjoyed for different reasons. That was the rough stuff. But I realized, it's just your only other choice is to not watch at all. Don't want to do that. So here we are. 902-518-3033. Who's having a worse day today than Keith Pelly, the president of the Toronto Maple Leafs? Stories come out in the Athletic. I'm wincing because I'm just thinking about this, what this industry's become. I mean, some of the people that wrote the article in the Athletic today about Keith Pelly, the president of the Leafs, and the Raptors and Toronto FC and the Argonauts, basically saying that he's trying to use AI to run the hockey team. That's what I got out of it, I guess. I did read part of the article. I'm like, I know Keith. I can't believe that he would use ChatGPT to run the biggest sports conglomerate in Canada, one of the top ones on the continent. But maybe, I don't. Who knows, right? Oh, I said our picks. Thank you. Kevin the Medium will be with us tomorrow. He's a psychic. David number 2 in Winnipeg writes in. He says, Kevin the Medium, is he a psychic or psycho for being a Canucks fan? I'd say both at this point. Watch his show and you tell me, the Hughes Sports Podcast. I said to him, you're irrational. He said, thanks. Wasn't a compliment. NHL games tonight, friends and family games. Only friends and family care about pretty much all of these. Detroit at Florida. Cats will win. Yep, they're going to go out strong. Whoever they trot out in the 20 jerseys, because these aren't the Panthers that we're used to. They're all hurt. Dallas at Buffalo. We'll say Sabres, primarily for Jenna from Southern California to make her happy. New York Rangers at Tampa Bay. Rangers are going to want to go out strong. They didn't for Jonathan Quick the other night, and that was kind of sad. I think the Bolts are just going to lay off in this one. Toronto at Ottawa. Ottawa. Everybody beats the Leafs. San Jose at Chicago. Bedard versus Celebrini again. You can always find a reason to watch a game, folks. Write it down. You can always find a reason to watch a game. Bedard versus Celebrini tonight. I'll take Chicago, the title in town. Seattle at Vegas. I'll take Vegas. They're still trying to ramp up under Tots. Carter Hart unbeaten. I'm assuming he's starting tonight, but I'm not totally sure. BW did not stop at Pump Jacks. Well, next time. There's always a next time until there isn't. What else do we have? Some of the notes. Chris Pronger says he signed with the Oilers when he was drunk. This in his upcoming book. I mean, these stories write themselves. Kevin Lowe has come out, the general manager at the time of the Oilers, and defended the city. I don't think anybody was offended, K. Lowe, but Kevin Lowe's cool. He can say what he wants. Well, this is the other thing, by the way. How are we doing for time? 2 minutes? Okay, thank you. Right on cue. It's a gift what I have. Some would say, in this instance, it's not a curse. It's a gift. Panthers are missing the playoffs. Tampa Bay's going to the playoffs. We do a Panthers and Lightning podcast called The Cats and the Bolts. And fearing viewership dipping because the Panthers are going to miss the playoffs, I dropped a little bomb, pulled the grenade, did a poll and said 68% of Panthers fans won't be cheering for the Lightning in the playoffs. And it just started a war amongst the fan bases. And we'll be talking about it this afternoon. It's a gift. Everybody's all tuned in, all worked up between the two fan bases. What's the split? We're Florida teams. It's us against the world. That's what the 32% that are going to be cheering for the Lightning are saying. Let's keep the Stanley Cup in Florida. And that's how I think. And the 68% are like, no, it's war. It's corner gas stuff. I get that too. Bill from Whitby writes in. He says, I'll take the Leafs tonight. You always do, Bill. But that's okay. You're a fan. Okay, big one tomorrow. We will not be on television tomorrow because of testing, something I'm told at Game Plus. But you can find us here, streaming, and also on the Silver State Sports Network. Henry Burris will be with us, former Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers quarterback, Canadian Football League Hall of Famer, coming to a TV screen near you. And Kevin the Medium will be with us as we make our first-round Stanley Cup playoff picks. Consider yourself warned, Kev. It's going to be fun. Thank you to Sean Hogan today. Thanks to producer Corey, and most of all, thanks to you, because without you, there's no us. And we'll see you tomorrow right here on the RP Show.
That.